Hello everyone, today I'm going to give you an update on my system. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the black hole of Acropora death, and we're going to do a review of Auto Aqua's skimmer security system. Hello and welcome back everyone to Amrazul TV. It's a July 2020 update. The system is doing really well so far. I think most of my corals are growing really well and coloring up. There's been no kind of major changes to the system. I'm still dosing aminos 3 times a day and supplementing the tank with potassium nitrate because my nitrate levels are fairly lowish. And I'm gonna take you through we're gonna do a top-down tour at the end of the video. I'm gonna do a product review, but before we get to the product review, I just want to tell you about one specific problem that I've been having in one specific spot in my tank. So if you notice in the back of the tank, there's this spot where you can see that I recently took a frag disc out of this rock. So this is I'm calling the black hole of Acropora death. There's been hundreds of dollars that were lost to that one little spot. So here's the story. When I started my rebuild, I never mentioned this, but I started with a small little and expensive Walt Disney frag, and it was mounted in that spot in the back. And I put it in the tank. It looked great. Week later, it RTN'd, and then I replaced it with a really nice, healthy pink matrix. And the pink matrix lasted for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it died. And then most recently I got an Icefire Echinata, and the Icefire Echinata also died. So everything I put in that one specific spot in the tank just quickly dies, and I don't know why. It's if you look, you see that everything else is doing really well. So it's a clearly like isolated issue. And I think maybe the hammer that's underneath this one spot may be sending out some tentacles, and for some reason, just the way the flow is moving the tentacles, it's stinging that one area. So I'm gonna have to figure out a solution because I've literally lost hundreds of dollars to that one specific hole. So black hole of Amro's paycheck. And before we check in on the SPS collection, I'm going to do a quick review of the Auto Aqua Smart Skimmer security system. This is not sponsored content. I purchased this with my own money because with my redsea skimmer, there isn't a good way to mount the float valve to prevent the skimmer overflow. So I was kind of trying to figure out a solution. I haven't had any issues with skimmer overflows, but it's probably a matter of time. So I found this on a local LFS, and effectively it comes with a power block that you plug your skimmer into, and this power block is connected to this optical float sensor, and you mount this on your skimmer collection cup. And so that magnetic coupling is able to send the signal from the wet side of the collection cup, and if the water rises above a certain level, then it shuts off electricity to the power block, preventing your skimmer from overflowing. And so here's I'm running a little test here where essentially I put the optical sensor really low, and I am on purpose gonna try to flood the collection cup by raising the level inside the skimmer. And if all goes well, then as the water rises, it's going to trip the optical sensor, and it will shut off the the skimmer. And actually, it does have an audible alert that when the skimmer overflows, you could actually hear it. So if you have a Wi-Fi camera monitoring your system or everything, that'll be kind of pretty handy. You'll know right away why your skimmer stopped working. So I was a little bit concerned that maybe the optical sensor was going to be too sensitive. And my skimmer generates a lot of bubbles, and I was concerned that the bubbles might actually trip the optical sensor, but that hasn't actually happened. So it doesn't seem that this system is too finicky. So if you have a skimmer that makes lots of bubbles, it's not a big deal. It's not going to be tricked. The bubbles are not going to trick the sensor. And so here it is in action. You can see that the water level is rising, and on purpose I put the optical sensor really low in the collection cup here because I didn't want to suck up a lot of my tank water. But you see here it comes. The water level is rising, and very shortly you're gonna see that the skimmer turns off, and the audible alert goes on. So I think it's about now. There it goes. So you can see that the skimmer is essentially powered down, and now you're hearing in the background the audible alert from the block. And actually it does flash red, so if you have a Wi-Fi camera looking inside the sump, then again you're going to know why your skimmer turned off. So so far I've had this gadget on my skimmer running for about a week. Actually no, more than that. It's about 2 weeks now actually, and so far it's been running really well. No false issues, no random like power down. So so far so good. All right, let's do the top down tour. We're gonna start with the green slimer here, looking good. WWC, little red Ferrari. This thing has actually been growing really well. So it's liking the spot. What is that? Hawkins Ishinada, looking really good. Everything is looking really good actually. Like if I would say that the average coral is looking a little bit brighter. This is my tiny frag of orange passion. It's a little bit hard to photograph because it's right under the radion, but it's looking really good. This is the Reefer Canada pot of gold millie. They should call it pot of green millie because all I see is green so far. But I think with more light it might get more of the yellowish and goldish colors. This is the Montipora Force Fire Digi, and it's doing really well. Reefraft USA Applejack, I believe, looks really good. It also looks very similar to my Reefraft Canada Rainbow Loom. I think they might actually be the same thing. The Blueberry Wine looking really good. You see like the amazing electric blue new tips that it's growing to the side here. Here, Kenny's still alive and living dangerously. Yeah, he's really cute. He actually like bites me whenever I put my hand in the tank. Kenny like goes after my hand. Let's see, where are we looking at here? Probably the only coral that lost a little bit of its luster. It's this shortcake, strawberry shortcake. You could see that the red or the like purple, not purple, but like pink tips, red tips are kind of getting a little bit dull. Yeah, I've never had a lot of luck with the strawberry shortcake, so I just wonder whether that's something that doesn't do well in my tank. But yeah, it clearly has lost a little bit of its pop. Yeah, not sure why. Let's see. Right off, going to the center boulder here. This is the golden jaw dropper. It is starting to kind of get a little bit more yellow, especially with the tips, and it's growing really well. The Jason Fox Jolt is also coloring up and looking really pretty. I still don't see the red polyps that some of people have when they have this coral, but you know, maybe as it gets a little bit more light, it will improve. PC Rainbow still looking a little bit green, but I'm seeing more red. You can see the red polyps here very clearly. What else? Then we have the Cali Blue Tort. Looking really well and growing really well as well. And then where are we going next? Then we have this is Reefraft Marvin the Martian, growing really well. This coral, whenever I turn on the flow, the polyps really come out. But this was you know, under normal time when I have regular flow, the polyps are a little bit retracted. But this thing is all about the polyps, so it's kind of really large green polyps that extend. And here is again the black hole of Acropora death. You can see how close it is to the hammer. You know, I've never seen any tentacles on the hammer, but I really am at a loss of words. The power over that spot is actually not very strong at all. It's about only 300, so I don't think I'm like burning corals to death or anything like that. This is the Reefraft Mr. Pac-Man. Looking really good. Also the Major Laser. You know, this is a very inexpensive frag, but probably like one of my favorite frags. It's just the colors and the shapes are phenomenal, I think. The Jason Fox Flame, the rest are always like throwing sand on it, but the colors I think are really spot on in terms of like having these pink tips, pink bodies with these like yellowish greenish tips. The TNT and Acropora looks really good. Actually, I have some sad news. I broke this colony in half by accident very recently, so Next time you see it, it's going to look a little bit different. The pink lemonade, I think it's looking really good. It's so far maintaining the yellow color, so I'm happy about that. And it's definitely growing, although it's a small frag to start with, but it's definitely growing. And then I think we're going to shift to the bonsai to the right here. And again, you can see that all the new growth incrustation on the bottom, and the colors are pretty vibrant. And then we're going to shift up a little bit to the Miyagi Tort. Growing really well. I have to kind of keep on top of this colony because it can grow really quickly, but it still has this very nice kind of progression from green to purple to kind of pink tips. Very, very beautiful colony. Then we have the Reef Pink Cadillac on the right and the Reef Rainbow Loom on the left. Both are doing really well, I think. The Cadillac could probably use a little bit more power, but I purposely put it in that spot because previously when it was in the middle, it literally like grew really too quickly, and I just couldn't keep track of it. All right, everyone, that's the end of the update. Thank you so much for watching. I did get a new frag for the Black Hole of Death, so hopefully it will survive. I'm gonna tell you what it is next video in case it dies on me. All right, everyone, have a good one and see you later.